Hello students, how are you all? I hope you all are doing great. I am Neha Rajvanshi and I welcome you all in today's class, that is English class of class 8th. So students, in the previous video we have started reading with our chapter number 3 from the book Honeydew. The name of the chapter is Glimpses of the Past. So as we have seen that this is a very interesting chapter that is written in the form of comics. So we are having so many pictures, and in the previous video we have read that at that time when the Britishers they were there in India and they were having the control, they were ruling our country. So what were the social conditions, what were the system that were prevalent at that time, that we have read that that time there were so many superstitions, there were so many false beliefs, right? And we have also read about the condition of people, that farmers they were suffering because of the heavy taxes, and when Britishers they were ruling our country, so at that time we were having two different kinds of group. Okay, in the first group there were people who were very happy with the British rule. Why? Because according to them Britishers they are like they are like a blessing for them. But yes, still there was another group of people, according to them now Indians they were slave. Why? Because now foreigners they were ruling their country, now foreigners they were controlling the people of this country. So yes, these were the feelings of people, and at that time they were very miserable condition was there, farmers were suffering, and Indian industries, especially the small industries, everything was just destroyed because of the policies of Britishers. Clear? So that much we have read in the previous video, and we will continue our chapter in today's video. So let's begin part 2, that is Indians view. So in this part, first of all we are having Ram Mohan Roy 1772 to 1833. So I am very much sure that you all are aware with this great personality Raja Ram Mohan Rai. In your history books also you have read so many things about Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So let's see, in this picture we can see Raja Ram Mohan Rai is here. So let's see what he is speaking. Ram Mohan Roy, a learned man from Bengal, understood what was wrong with the country. So at that time, in that scenario, there was this great personality, that is Raja Ram Mohan Rai, and he was very learned man, he was very educated man, he was a very intellectual person, and he was from Bengal, and he was able to understand that what was wrong with the country at the time when he saw that everywhere there are so many miseries, so much suffering is there. So at that time he was able to realize, he was able to understand that what's wrong with the country. So let's see now what he is speaking. He is saying that let us not despise ourselves, our ancient culture is great. So now he is talking to some other person, and he is saying that let us not despise ourselves. So let's see the meaning first. Despise means to hate, or we can say to dislike. So he is saying that let us not hate ourselves, let us not dislike ourselves. So what it means, in the previous video we have read that at that time the Indians they were having no self-respect, they were having no self-confidence. So now Raja Ram Mohan Rai, he was having this kind of opinions that Indians they should have some self-respect, they should have some self-confidence, because our ancient culture is very great and we are capable of greater achievements. And at the same time he was having this opinion that Indians they are capable of greater achievements, because Indians they are having so many good values, they are having a very rich past, a very rich history. So they are capable to achieve greater achievements. We must first reform our society. But at the same time Raja Ram Mohan Rai, he was aware about the superstitions, he was aware about the things that were prevalent in the society. So he knew that first of all what is needed, first of all they should reform the society. Superstitions have been ruining us. So yes, he was having this idea that because of the superstitions, because of the false beliefs that are there in the society, they are causing a lot of harm to the people, a lot of harm to the society. So students, you all know about Raja Ram Mohan Rai, that he actually campaigned against so many superstitions, against so many social practice, like he was against to caste system, he was against to untouchability, and he also attacked on child marriage, and at the same time he did did so many things for the upliftment of women, especially the widows. So yes, he was the social reformer, and he knew this thing that first of all we should reform the society. You know, जो भी superstitions है, जो भी false belief है, उन सबको हटाना पड़ेगा. Then only Indians, they can develop some self-respect, they can develop some self-confidence. So he was the greatest social reformer who was against all the superstitions, who were against all the false beliefs that were followed from generations to generations. So now he just wanted to create a change in the society, and yes, he actually worked for that. He actually, he did a lot of effort to reform the society, and we all know about such things. Clear? He told his wife Uma. So once Raja Ram Mohan Rai, he told his wife Uma. So in this picture we can see Raja Ram Mohan Rai is here, and he is talking to his wife Uma. So let's read what he is saying. He is saying cows are of different colors, but the color of their milk is the same. Different teachers have different opinions, but the essence of every religion is the same. So here Raja Ram Mohan Rai, he is trying to explain this thing, and for that he is using one comparison here, and he is saying that all the cows that are of different color, but doesn't matter what color is there on the cow, but the milk is of the same color. सभी cows का जो milk होता है that is of a white color. So no matter कि cow किस color की है, right? It may be black, it may be white, it may be orange, doesn't matter, but the milk of the cow is always white. Similarly, all the different teachers of different religion, okay, so there can be different teachers, there can be different religion, there can be different religious teachers, but ultimately the essence of every religion is the same. So what essence means? Essence means the extract, or we can say the main part. So Raja Ram Mohan Rai, he was having this kind of belief, he was having this kind of opinion that all the religions ultimately they are same. So there is no difference between different kind of religion, there is no difference. So and this is the reason never ever we should create any kind of discrimination, never ever we should think that that person is different. Why? Because he is having different religion, he is following some different religious faiths, okay. So ultimately all the religions, all the different religions, they are same, and all the religions, they teach the same thing, they teach the same basic human qualities, that we should have love, we should have respect for each and every religion, and God is always there, God is same, God is one. So each and every religion, they are having these basic teachings. So ultimately we can say that yes, we are having different kinds of religion, we are having different kind of religious books and religious teachers, but ultimately the essence of each and every religion is the same, and that is one. Clear? He was attracted by science and modern knowledge. So as we have read that Raja Ram Mohan Rai, he was very learned man, he was very intellectual person. So this was the reason that he was also attracted by science and modern knowledge. So one side he was against to all the superstitions, to all the false beliefs that were there, and he just wanted to reform the society, and on the other hand he was equally attracted towards modern science, towards the modern knowledge. Knowledge should be practical and scientific. So here we can see in this picture Raja Ram Mohan Rai, he is sitting there and he is addressing some people, he is addressing a group of people, and he is saying that knowledge should be always practical and scientific. So yes, he was having this belief also that all the Indians, they should be educated, they should have knowledge, but that knowledge, it has to be scientific and at the same time it has to be practical. It means only हम कहते हैं ना जो बुकिश नॉलेज होती है, that is not at all enough, but the knowledge, it has to be practical and it has to be scientific. He started newspapers, but suspicious British stopped them in 1823. So Raja Ram Mohan Rai, he was the first person who started newspapers. So he just wanted to educate the Indians. He just wanted that the Indians, they should have knowledge, they should have scientific knowledge, practical knowledge, and for that purpose he started newspapers. He published newspapers, but the Britishers, they stopped the newspapers in the year 1823. 1883. Why? Because the Britishers, they were suspicious, they were very doubtful, okay, they were very doubtful about the intentions of Raja Ram Mohan Rai, that what Raja Ram Mohan Rai is actually wanted to do. So the Britishers, they were very much suspicious, they were very much doubtful. This was the reason they stopped the newspapers that were published by Raja Ram Mohan Rai in the year 1823. So yes, Raja Ram Mohan Rai, he actually wanted to arise Indians, he actually wanted to arise self-confidence and self-respect in Indians, and he wanted this thing that Indians, they should have knowledge, they should have scientific and practical knowledge, and they should free themselves from all kinds of superstitions, from all kinds of false beliefs, from all kinds of traditions that are there in the society. And he actually worked very hard, he actually did a lot of efforts for this purpose. He crossed the seas and went to England to see what made the British powerful. There he told them, and Raja Ram Mohan Rai, he was very much curious to know the reason that why Britishers, they are so powerful. How is it possible that Britishers, they came to India and now they are ruling this country, now they are having the control over this country. So why they are so powerful, how they are able to rule our country. So he just wanted to know this thing, and for that he crossed the sea and finally he went to England. Why? Just to know this thing, just to see this thing, that what is the thing that actually made the Britishers so powerful. And when he was in England, then he told them, then he told the Britishers. So what he told, let's see. So in this picture we can see Raja Ram Mohan Rai, he is standing there, and there are some of the Britishers, and Raja Ram Mohan Rai, he is addressing this group of Britishers, and he is saying, we accept you as rulers and you must accept us as subjects, but you must remember the responsibility a ruler owes to his subjects. So when Raja Ram Mohan Rai, when he was in England, so at that time he said that we means we Indians, we accept you as rulers and you must accept we all of the Indians as your subjects. So what subject means? Subject means under the control of others. So there in England he said that okay, if you are ruling our country India, then we Indians, we accept you as our rulers and you also have to accept us as your subjects. But you must remember the responsibility a ruler owes to his subject. But when you are ruling our country, when you are ruling our people, at that time you must remember the responsibility, you must remember your duty as a ruler, and you have this kind of feeling that what duties, what responsibility you owe to your subjects. It means he was trying to say that okay, if you are ruling our country, then okay, you are the ruler and we are your subject. But if you are ruling, so definitely you are having a lot of responsibility, you are having a lot of duties towards your subject. So always remember your responsibility, because एक ruler की सबसे बड़ी responsibility क्या होती है? अपने subjects, और we can say जो पहले जो kings हुआ करते थे, उनकी क्या ड्यूटी होती थी कि जो उनके citizens हैं, उनके people हैं, उनके welfare के बारे में सोचना. Okay, so now Raja Ram Mohan Rai, he is trying to say the same thing, he is trying to convey the same message to the Britishers, and he is saying that if you are ruling our country, if you are ruling our people, then you have to be responsible, you should perform your duties, and you should think towards the welfare, towards the well-being of our people, towards the well-being of Indians. Okay, and never ever you should hurt the feelings of our people, never ever you should perform any such thing to torture our people, but you should always be aware towards the well-being of our people. Next we are having operation. Okay, so this was from 1765 to 1835. So in the previous part we have read about Raja Ram Mohan Rai, and actually he was a very great personality who really did a lot of work to reform the society, to reform all the superstitions, to reform all the false beliefs, right? And he was very learned, very educated and very intellectual person. And now in this part we are reading about the operation, or we can say about the torture that was done by the Britishers, and the period is from 1765 to 1835. So let's read. But the British continued to oppress Indians. In 1818, they had passed Regulation 3. Under it, an Indian could be jailed without trial in a court. So when Raja Ram Mohan Rai, when he was having this kind of message that if you are ruling our country, so you have to be responsible, you have to perform your duties that you owe towards the Indians. But the Britishers वो एक्चुअल में रूल करना तो चाहते थे, बट वो रूलर बन के नहीं आए थे. They were here just to do business and they were having no interest in the well-being of Indians. They just wanted to earn more and more money. They were having their interest only in their profits, and yes, they were having no concern for Indians. So this was the reason that the Britishers, they continued to oppress Indians. So what oppress means? Oppress means to abuse, or we can say to keep in control. So the Britishers, they were abusing Indians, okay, or they were oppressing Indians, and a lot of torture was there. And in the year of 1818, the Britishers, they passed one new act that is known as Regulation 3, and you all have read about this act also. And according to this act, now any Indian could be jailed without any trial in a court. So now this new act that is known as Regulation 3, so this act gave another power to the Britishers. Now Britishers, they were free to jail any Indian without any trial in the court. Okay, so वो जिसको भी चाहे, जिस इंडियन को वो चाहे वो जेल में डाल सकते थे, because now there was no trial was required, no trial in the court was needed now because of this act that is known as Regulation 3. So now in this picture we can see that at that time, because of this act, all the jails, they were filled with Indians, because now Britishers, they were having this power to jail any Indian without any trial in the court. So all the jails, they were filled with the Indians, any Indian who was raising their voice against the Britishers. So Britishers, they were having the entire power, they were having the entire authority to jail any Indian. All the time, British officers in India drew big salaries and also made fortunes in private business. So at that time when Britishers, they were ruling our country, when they were in India, they were the rulers. So at that time, the British officers who were there in India, so they drew big salaries. Okay, so they were earning very big salaries, and they were also making fortunes in private business also. So let's say the meaning first. What fortune means? Fortune means large amount of money. So all the Britishers, all the British officers who were there in India, so one side they were receiving huge salaries. Okay, why? Because they were here, they were serving here in India, and on the other hand they were also earning a lot of money, a huge amount of money. Why? Because they were having so many private business. So yes, the British officers who were there in India at that time, they were earning more and more money. On one hand they were getting the salaries, and on the other hand they were developing so many private business. So yes, they were becoming more and more rich, they were becoming more and more wealthy, and yes, they were earning a huge amount of money. By 1829, Britain was exporting British goods worth 7 crore rupees to India. And in the previous video also we have read this thing that कि just to gain more and more profit, the Britishers, they were having this idea, they were having these policies that all the goods that was manufactured in England, that was that was brought to India without any import duty. And by the year 1829, Britain was exporting British goods, the goods that is manufactured in England, that is worth 7 crore rupees to India. So now here you can imagine, after reading this fact, that at that time the Indian markets, everything was full with all the stuff that is manufactured in England, because it's really a very huge amount, 7 crore rupees. Okay, so by the year 1829, Britain, or we can say England, it was exporting British goods that is worth 7 crore rupees to India. the British prospered on the company's loot while Indian industries began to die. So now what are the consequences of this thing, that Britishers, they were having this policy, they were having this idea that they just wanted to import all the things, all the goods from England, and that too without any import duty. The consequences were that all the Indian markets, they were full with that stuff, and that stuff was much cheaper comparatively to the stuff that is made in Indian industry. Okay, so now because of this thing, all the people, they were buying that stuff, they were buying वो सामान वो खरीद रहे थे that was manufactured in England, and because of that the Indian industry, it began to die, it started to ruin, it started to destroy. Okay, so one side the Britishers, they were prospering, they were becoming more and more wealthy, more and more rich, and on the other side the Indian industry, it was dying, it was suffering, it was destroying. So let's see what prospered means. Prospered means to grow. Okay, so one side Britishers, they were growing, they were prospering, they were earning more and more profit, but on the other hand Indian industries and especially the small businesses that were there in India, so each and every business, it was ruining, it was destroying, it was dying because of such policies, because of such ideas that was there because of the Britishers. Why? Because they were just interested in their own profit and they actually wanted to earn more and more profit. The bones of cotton weavers are bleaching the plains of India. So now because the small businesses of India, they were ruining, they were destroying, and especially the cotton industry. Okay, so जो cotton weavers थे, they were suffering the most, and now जो cotton weavers थे, okay, so now we are having that the bones of cotton weavers, they are bleaching the plains of India. So what it means? It means that because of that policy, because of that plan of Britishers, now the Indian industry, especially the cotton industry, it was completely destroyed, it was completely ruined, and now the cotton weavers, they were having no jobs, and because of that they were having no money, they were having no food, so they were dying because of hunger, they were suffering from starvation, and they were dying, and they were decaying in this earth, they were decaying in our motherland, and because of their bones, this plains of India, it was bleaching, it was cleaning. Okay, so now here we can see the miserable conditions that was there of cotton weavers. All the industries, they were suffering, but especially the cotton industry, it was completely destroyed. Okay, so we have also read earlier the miserable conditions of farmers, and now here we can see the conditions of cotton weavers. So yes, they were dying, they were suffering of starvation because they were having no money, they were having no food. Why? Just because of the policies, just because of the unfair policies of Britishers. And why they were having such policies? Because their interest was only in their own profit, and never ever they were interested in the well-being of Indians, in the well-being of Indian industries and Indian businessmen. Okay, so yes, they were earning more and more money, and on the other side Indian farmers, Indian businessmen, they were suffering, they were dying because of starvation, because of hunger. Next part, we are having dissatisfaction, that is from 1835 to 56. So now because of the torture, because of the exploitation that was created by Britishers, now finally there was a feeling of dissatisfaction in the mind and heart of Indians. So now let's read. Education in India was in Persian and Sanskrit. In 1835, a Englishman named Macaulay suggested a change. So at that time in India, the entire education, the education system of India was that education was in Persian and Sanskrit. So at that time there were two languages, and the entire education was either in Persian or in Sanskrit. But in the year of 1835, one Englishman was there, and his name is Macaulay, and again I am very much sure that you all know this name, that is Macaulay. So Macaulay, in the year of 1835, he suggested a change in our education system. So at that time the entire education was having only two languages, either Persian or Sanskrit, but finally Macaulay, he suggested some change in this education system. So in this picture we can see he is Mr. Macaulay, and he is talking with some other British officer, and let's read what he says. saying? He is saying we should teach the native through the English language. So finally he was having this suggestion, he was having this idea that we should teach the natives. Natives means the citizens of India, or we can say the Indians. So he was having this idea that we should teach the Indians through the English language. Okay, so अब तक English language जो थी that was not there in India, there was only Persian and Sanskrit. So Macaulay, first of all, he suggested this thing that they should teach Indians through the English language, and the British officers, they were all agreed with this thing. So finally ये change जो था education system में, it was there. English education produced clerks to whom the British gave petty jobs under them. So now finally Indians, they were having education through English language. So now this because of this English education, there were so many clerks. So why Britishers, they were interested in this English education? Obviously not for the benefits of Indians, because they were having no interest in the benefit of Indians. But so what is the reason they they agreed to give English education? The reason was very obvious, because they wanted to have so many clerks who can work under them, and to make clerk, they just wanted to produce clerk from Indians, and for this reason they were having this plan that English education, it should be there. So now finally, because of the English education, there were so many clerks now, and now the Britishers, they gave petty jobs to those clerks. So what petty jobs means? Petty means very small jobs, or we can say jobs that were having no value, that were having no importance. So in each and every department, Britishers, they were the officers, they were the superiors, they were the seniors, and the Indians, they were the clerks who have to work under the Britishers. Okay, so this was the plan of this education system. With the help of this English education, the Britishers, they just wanted to have so many clerks who could work under them. So finally it was actually happening, and finally there were so many Indian clerks who were working under the Britishers. And incidentally, it also produced a new generation of intellectual. But yes, there was a blessing in disguise also, that because of this education, there was also a new generation of intellectuals. So let's see the meaning first. Incidentally means as a change. Okay, so it was not at all planned by the Britishers, but it happened. So I am saying that it was a blessing in disguise. And intellectual means highly logical, or we can say very wise. So now because of this English education, there was a new generation of India, and that new generation was very wise, that new generation was very logical, very intellectual, and they were able to think that what is right and what is wrong. Okay, so the Britishers, they were having this English education just because they wanted to produce clerks who could work under them. But one more change was there because of that English education, that now in our society we were having a new generation that were very intellectual, that were very wise, very logical, and that were able to see that what is right and what is wrong. So now in this picture we can see some Indians are here and they are talking. So let's read. The first person is saying, we must educate our brothers. So now finally they were able to understand the value, the importance of education. So now they are discussing that we must educate our brothers, we must educate each and every Indian. Another person is saying, and try to improve their material conditions. So now another person is saying that yes, because of the education, they will be able to improve their condition, because yes, now they all understand the value of education. So yes, they were having this plan that we should educate each and every Indian, then only they can improve their condition. And now the third person is saying, for that we must convey our grievances to the British Parliament. So the third person is having this kind of suggestion, this kind of advice, that for that we should convey our grievances. Grievances means complaint. So he is saying that we should convey this message that we are having one complaint to the British Parliament. Okay, so why they are having so much plans? Why? Because they are logical persons, they are intellectual persons, and they are very wise, and now they can think that what is good for Indians, what is good for the society. So now they all they were able to understand the importance of education. So now they want this thing that all the Indians, they should be educated, education should be there to each and every Indian. By 1856, the British had conquered the whole of India. So now we are having another map of India. In the previous video also we have seen one map, okay, and in that map I hope that you all remember the British territory was very limited to this part only, okay, but in this map you can see the red part is the British territory, the British area. So now in this map you can see that the Britishers, they conquered so many states, they were ruling in so many parts of India, and the remaining yellow part, that are the states where British rule was still not there, but the entire red part is the place, it indicates the place, the territory, the area where British rule was there. So now we can imagine that the Britisher, yes, they were ruling the country, they were having the control over our country, over our people. They cared little about the needs of Indians. So now when the British rule was there, so we have read, we have discussed earlier also that the Britishers, they were interested in their own profit, and you know, never ever they were having any interest in the well-being of Indians. So this was the reason that you know they were having no care about the needs of Indians, कि Indians actually में क्या चाहते हैं, Indians के लिए क्या अच्छा होगा. So you know इस तरह की कोई भी care उनको नहीं थी, because they just want to rule, they just want to have their own profit. So never ever they were having any care, any consideration towards the needs of Indians, towards the condition of Indians. Our kings have become puppets and we have lost our old jobs. So now finally a feeling of dissatisfaction was there in the mind and heart of Indians when they realized this thing, that you know they are just slaves, and Britishers, they are ruling over their country, they are ruling over their people, and you know they are actually having a lot of torture, a lot of exploitation. So now finally the Indians, they were having this satisfaction, and finally they realized this thing, okay. So now they are discussing something. So they are the Indians and they are discussing. So this person is saying that all our kings, they have become puppets. It means they do whatever the Britishers, they told them to do, and we have lost our old jobs also. So we have read earlier also that all the Indian industries, they were destroyed completely. Farmers जो थे वो भी सफ़र कर रहे थे, industries भी सफ़र कर रही थी. So yes, Indians, they were having no job. So finally they realized this thing, that you know their kings are the puppets in the hands of Britishers. Now another person is saying that and lands, it means he is saying that we have lost our jobs and at the same time we have lost our lands also. They are converting our brothers. And one more thing was there at that time, that you know the Britishers, they were converting the Indians. So what it means to convert? Convert means to change one's religious faith. It means जो Britishers थे, they were trying to convert the Indians, they were trying to convert the religion of Indian, and they were forcing the Indian to accept, you know, वो Christianity को accept कर ले, Christian religion को accept कर ले. So yes, such things were also there at that time in our society, that the Britishers, that they were trying to convert the Indians. You only talk, do something to drive them out. So now finally this kind of feelings were there in the heart of Indians, that they just now want to get rid of Britishers. So now they are saying that you know why we are talking, we should do something, we should do some action, and we should drive the Britishers out from our country, because yes, this is India, this is our country, this is our home, and Britishers, they are the foreigners. So why they are ruling here, why they are having a control over our country and over our people? We should do something and we should drive them out from our country, okay. So now here we can see that yes, Indians finally they were aware with this thing, that Britishers जो है वो सिर्फ अपना अपना प्रॉफिट दे रहे हैं, एंड एक्चुअली वो नो बहुत ज़्यादा हार्म कर रहे हैं कंट्री को, कंट्री मैन को. सो नाउ दे जस्ट वांटेड टू गेट रिड ऑफ Britishers. Now they just wanted to have freedom, now they wanted to have independence, okay. So now this realization of freedom was there finally in the mind and hearts of Indians. Clear? So we will continue the chapter in our next video, and we will complete reading with our chapter. See you in the next video. Thank you.